Hey Kings and Dragons, Dragon King 551, and today we're going to talk about how I can't do movie critics or reviews anymore. The thing that I have to put into focus with this is Rotten Tomatoes is no longer reliable. It has lost all its credibility for me, as Rotten Tomatoes is the most reviewed critic website for most movies that people go on. I've done it where I've taken averages of certain movies, where I've taken Google review plus Rotten Tomatoes plus IBM and then a couple of other ones together, and taken the average and compared that to the sequel version and done that. But the thing here is that I have to voice my own opinion of movies from now on, where I watch them and give me my best critique on them, because ultimately, at the end of the day, there's just no reason for me to rely on Rotten Tomatoes anymore. Because here's a couple of examples. When you looked at Last Jedi versus Rise of Skywalker for Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, I agreed with the audience that it was a better movie than Last Jedi, and it was 60%, where Last Jedi got completely rated low, and the critics rated it like an 80 and stuff, whereas the critics rated it really, really bad on Rotten Tomatoes. And I said, for Rise of Skywalker, and I said, whoa, I don't know about that. I think Last Jedi was a worse film compared from one to the other and stuff, but overall, that series was definitely like a D plus in my book. And it's just certain movies and certain things, are not bad. Like, these mediocre films are not necessarily bad. Anyone But You, or anyone like those types of movies and stuff with Sydney Sweeney, or something along the lines of those, you know, and the Jennifer Lawrence movie that came out last year in 2023 with her, trying to hook up with like a 19-year-old. I didn't think those were bad movies. I just felt like they weren't that great of a movie and stuff. I mean, Anyone But You wasn't that bad of a movie, but if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. But at the end of the day, I just think that certain movies are worse than others. Like, for me, I think Age of Ultron is the worst Avengers movie of all time, because the thing you have to remember is that the Russo brothers didn't direct that. They directed Civil War. No, wait, not Civil War. I'm sorry. I think they did. No, maybe they did direct Civil War. Winter Soldier, I think they directed as well. And they directed Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And those were like their four best movies. And then now they're going to direct Doctor Doom, Doomsday, and they're going to direct Avengers Secret Wars. So those types of movies, you realize, well, it also depends on the director, the actor, and the star power in it, and how you critique a thing. Because for me, a lot of these films that I've watched, I've hated and stuff. The reason I don't like Civil War is because it's too much of a Avengers movie for the most part. They're fighting together, and then they start breaking it apart and everything. And then once we get to the final part of the movie, it's Tony versus Steve and Bucky. So it's not really fair to say that it's a Captain America film. How can it be a Captain America film if you're having, the Avengers be in it all the time and stuff? So I don't really know. And those are some critiques I've had with Marvel, and I've had other things. But at the end of the day, I think that I can't do it with movie critics or reviews anymore. I think everyone needs to voice their own opinions and voice it to their best ability. Now, I personally, as I've said before, I don't like people like Soups on TikTok, because, and I hate to use this terminology because it's very disrespectful to people who have this condition, but I don't like calling it this, but I'll use it anyway. And I call it the bipolar effect, where people swing on a pendulum left and right, where they say a show or a movie is really bad because they didn't get the cameo they wanted, and they cry like a little bitch and get their feelings hurt, as Klay Thompson once said. I guess he just got his feelings hurt, and everyone just gets butt hurt out here because they didn't get what they wanted, and they said the show's bad. And then as soon as Captain Marvel appears in Miss Marvel, everyone switches on a dime. It's the same way with Michigan with the cheating scandal. in reviews. This is another great example where they say, okay, they fired Stallions, they fired these guys and everything, and they fired all these guys that were part of this signals and everything. Now they got to win out and stuff. They win out, they win the national championship. Then ESPN swings back on a pendulum and completely does a 180 on them. Oh, they're tainted and stuff. And that's why for me, I have always tried to be a best critic person for my understanding and sticking to my opinions and sticking to what I liked and what I hated. In the beginning, when I watched 4, 5, and 6 of Star Wars before I saw the prequels in my time, my dad showed me those 3 movies first before when I was 5, right before Revenge of the Sith came out, and then I watched 1 and 2. At the time, I didn't really like 1 and 2, and 3 was my favorite. But looking back on it, I don't say the prequels are that bad, and I can change my opinion as the years go on and stuff, and as I get older and understand stuff. But for the sequels, I'm always going to hate them. I just can't. I started when I was 15. I ended it when I was roughly around 19 years old, close into my 20s, and I just can't get behind it. So at the end of the day, there's just certain critiques that you got to stick with your opinion about, and you can't just switch on a dime like ESPN or switch on a dime like Soups or something because the film didn't go your way. If you think it's a good film based off your opinion and facts that you're backing it up with, then frankly, I see nothing wrong with that. But that's all I got for you guys. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below if you what your opinions are on certain movies. Did you like Thor? Did you like Phase 4 of Marvel? Did you hate certain films that I've done before? And that's all I got for you. So hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to stay radical.